Ladies and gentlemen, I am a statistical anomaly. The year I graduated college, only 5% of the nation's undergraduates were Hispanic males. I work in the education field. Only 2% of educators, and I use that term fairly loosely, are Hispanic or African American males. In the organization I work with, which is a large nonprofit here in Charlotte, over 100 employees, I'm one of 3 Hispanic males. In the school I work in, Hidden Valley Elementary School, I'm the only Hispanic male. Why is that important? Well, I work with nearly 50% of my population, which are Hispanic. Such a large group. And I want to tell you guys a story. One day I walked into a 5th grade classroom, and I made a beeline to the back. I wanted to hear what the teacher was saying, wanted to see what it was she was discussing so that I could better help some of the students in the classroom. And when I did this, I felt this weird feeling. Felt as if someone was watching me. Now, I'm originally from New York, and for whatever reason, we can sense when someone is watching us. It's a privacy thing, you know, we get on the subway and we want as much space as possible, and so I could sense these eyes were following me through the room. Went to the back, I sat down, and I started paying attention to the lesson, but I couldn't shake that feeling. I looked around a little bit, and there he was, Juan. This student in this class that I had never met. It was a brand new student, it was the beginning of the year, and he was just staring a hole through me. And I couldn't figure out why. I thought maybe I had a snot on my face, maybe I had dropped something on myself. I didn't know why until it just clicked. The reason Juan was looking at me is because he had never seen someone like me in his class. He had never seen someone that looked like him serve as an educator. I thought back to my own experience, and I hadn't either. So it was that, coupled with some other things, some other experiences like that, that led me to start an initiative called Men Connect. Now, Men Connect was birthed out of this program at Hidden Valley Elementary called Men Count. And Men Count is this amazing thing we do where we invite male volunteers to come into the school. And we ask them to come and spend some time with these students. And so it's a great day. We've had as many as 100 people come out, males come out, and be positive male role models for our students. And the day is great, but I realized it was just a day. Just one instance. And so I formulated this event called Men Connect, where it wouldn't just be an event. It would be an introduction. Our students would be able to interact with these males, and it would develop a long-term relationship. And so Juan participated in that first event. Actually, the story is, Juan went all the way home because he forgot about the event and he didn't get the parent signature he was supposed to get, which I know there's educators in the room and you guys push for those signatures all the time. And so Juan went all the way back home, ran back to the school, and said, "Mr. Rios, can I please participate? Here's my paper." I said, "Sure, come on in, Juan." That day, Juan's perspective was further expanded. Not only did he see that Hispanic males could serve as educators, but he saw members of the Latin American Chamber of Commerce, men that served as engineers, that served as business owners, that served in all different types of capacities. In one moment, Juan's mind changed about his opportunities. What we were teaching him, what we were telling him, the dream we were selling him became tangible. And then I realized that for Juan, in spite of all the work I had just put in spite of everything that I had told him and shown him in myself, Juan couldn't necessarily attain the goals that we had set for him. Or better yet, this dream that we had told him was attainable. Why? Because approximately 1.5 million undocumented students currently reside in the U.S. Why does this matter, you may ask? What does this have to do with the story? Well, 765,000 came to the U.S. before turning 16. The majority of those 1.5 came not on their own choosing. They didn't ask to come here. They were brought here. And 765,000 came before they turned 16. It's our goal, our right, their right, to still educate them. 20% of those undocumented students drop out of high school. Now, there's certain perceptions, and I'm sure a case can be built around why that is. We can say it's cultural differences, linguistic barriers, all those things. But do we realize, as a community, that one of the main reasons we have 20% of these students dropping out is that they can't easily go to college? I'm a dropout prevention counselor. That's basically what my job boils down to. I work with these students day in and day out, and I tell them you can be anything you want to be. But our colleges don't allow them to be. Our institutions of higher learning are supposed to be for everyone, but they shut this population out. Of the 65,000 undocumented students who graduate from high school on a yearly basis, only 5 to 10% go to college. During my program, my Men Connect event, which got good press and was really heralded for being intuitive and different and an awesome initiative, I told these kids they can be anything. I showed them examples of what they could be. But then I realized that this number was their reality. They could only be as much as we allowed them to be. In this country, the biggest barrier for these students to go on to college is financial limitations. There's no state or federal law that says that they cannot attend college here. But what we do is we force them to pay in-state tuition. Now you may say, well, not all states do that. You're right. 10 states do not. Out of 50, 10 say you're allowed in, as long as you're a resident. And you can get an in-state tuition rate. And for those of you guys that may have forgotten, I know some of you guys, it's been a while since you've been to college. College tuition is very expensive. I'll give you an example. UNC Chapel Hill. The tuition rate for an in-state student is $21,000. And that's before you factor in grants, work study, all the other opportunities that they have to pay off that $21,000. For an out-of-state student, Chapel Hill is $41,000. For my undocumented student, it's $41,000 without the opportunity to get any other resources to pay it off. The majority of this population, like myself, was raised in poverty. They don't have the opportunity to get that money. They don't have the opportunity to get a career that would allow them to pay back their loans like we all do. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. I don't know if you guys have seen this in the news recently, but there's a young lady by the name of Daniela Pelaez. She's the valedictorian of North Miami Senior High School in Miami, Florida. This student has been told that she must self-deport herself. A valedictorian. She wants to go to med school and become a doctor. We're telling her she can't help us. She can't heal us. She can't cure us. Or maybe you heard the story about Cesar Vargas, a Mexican immigrant who was brought here at 4 years old to the city of New York, my city, place I was born and raised. Got an education, busted his behind, worked 7 days a week in a restaurant, went all the way to pass the bar exam. And now he's told he can't practice law in this country. He used to work for the Supreme Court in New York State. He was under a congressman in New York State, but he can't practice law here. What does that mean for us? When our best and our brightest can't attain the dreams that we often tell them that are out there for them. I leave you with this. Two things. The analogy I always use to describe this situation is, imagine you started an investment. I'm sure many of you have one. Imagine it was a 401k, an IRA, a mutual fund, whatever it may be. And from year 0 to year 12, you're pumping money into this thing. Some years are good. Some years might be light. You don't get as much as you thought. But throughout the process, you know that you're going to get a return on your investment. You know that you're going to profit from what you're putting in. And imagine at the end of year 12, instead of cashing out, you close the account. That's what we do with these students every day. And so I've thrown a lot of numbers at you during this presentation. I've told you a lot of different things about myself and about my students. but I'll leave you with this. 40% of the startup companies that are Fortune 500 in this nation, 40% of those companies were started by an immigrant or the son or the child of an immigrant. That's Yahoo, that's Google, that's so many others. Of all the numbers I've mentioned, I pray that our community makes it imperative that Juan is one of that 40%. Thank you.